so we're getting ready to pull our wire. I wanted to touch on something just real quick. So we've got our home run is coming into this receptacle, right? And so why didn't we just come from this receptacle up to this switch box and then come from the switch box down to our split receptacle? So we could, every bit we could do that, right? We bring our power up to here with a 12-2 or 14-2, and then come down with our power. But that's going to put an extra wire into this box, right? And we're already going to be pretty close on that box. I may have you guys work the box fill calculation on this box with the wire and without the wire, so that we can see what those totals are. So as it is, we're running our 14-2 from this receptacle to our split receptacle and then up. Now, if you'll notice here, right, I already have some wire pulled between these boxes, and I have wire pulled between these boxes, and my little piece for my home run is already pulled. Right, the reason those are already pulled is I used our scrap wire from the scrap pile for those, right? I'm not using fresh wire for those. Those are little short runs. I found the short runs that I could reuse wire for, and I'm reusing some of our existing wire to save wire for our lab. I would like for you guys to do the same, so that we can, you know, if there's some wire available over there that's still in lengths that are long enough for these little short runs, you still be able to get your staples in where they go. I would like for you to utilize those things, right? So if we look at our diagram that we've got drawn, right, we've got 14-2, 14-2, and then coming from the split receptacle up, we've got to use 14-3, because we've got to bring power and a neutral up, and then we've got to bring power back down to our receptacle, right? So I have a roll of 14-2 in the floor, and you can't see it there, and a roll of 14-3. So I'm going to pull enough up to come to this box here, cut me a length off. Staple those two wires, right? For our labs, we're not going to run all the staples all the way in. Because we want to be able to take these back out. But in a real environment, right, you're going to drive that staple in until it makes contact with your wire, until it holds that wire firmly without crimping the wire, without damaging the outer sheet. If you notice, I'm going straight across and then coming up to my switch box with the 12-3, right? Part of the code is neat and orderly, right? We want to keep things looking neat and orderly as much as we possibly can. Now we're going to get a piece of 14-3 to run between our switch box and our other switch. I'm trying to measure this close, but we're not wasting wire. I cut this one too long, right? I got about 8 inches more wire than I need right there, and that's going to go to waste. And for these labs, we want to try to minimize that. You want to try to minimize that in life as well. When you're, you know, each foot of wire, it's going to cost someone money, and as you're a residential electrician working on these things, like, that's coming out of someone's pocket, and if it's coming out of the customer's pocket, they're going to wonder why there's big piles of copper that are just getting thrown away, or that you're carrying off to, you know, resell at the scrap yard. If you're bidding on a job for the whole job, if your boss is bidding on the job for the whole job, and you've got a big pile of excess wire there, he's going to question you, like, why that's dollars out of my pocket you've got just sitting on the floor there. So you want to leave enough to do the job, but you don't want to have miles of excess wire piled up. Pulling our 14-3 into this box neatly. I'm not stapling it yet because we still gotta come up to this box. So now I'm gonna grab some 14-2 All right, we're gonna come up, go ahead and push that through, get what I need here. Pull that into the box. Now within 12 inches of this box, we're gonna need a staple. Okay. Get a hammer so that I can do this with a hammer. You can use a hammer. I was using my pliers before. I have a tendency to use what's on hand, but if you have the proper tool, you will have a better time getting things done. All right, put a staple in that location. Being very careful that if I'm stacking two wires on top of each other, that as I put this staple in, the staple is not going into the sheath of the cable itself. We're only getting it into the stud. We want to get this a little closer to the middle of the stud. Right? We don't want to be close to that back edge because we want to be protected from somebody running a screw in from the other side, hanging up a picture or hanging a mirror. One last. So there we've got 14.2 for our home run across to our first box. We have 14.3 that comes up to our switch box, 14.3 that comes out of our switch box and over to our second switch box. We have 14.2 that runs up to our light fixture, and then 14.2 that runs across to our second light fixture.